Reedman.
Here.
Mack.
Here.
Northern.
Here.
If I could have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll move.
Second. We will be postponing the review of the adequacy dollars in district priorities until the next meeting. So, which would be what, the 15th?
Just so we have more people.
Yeah. So everybody, or hopefully everybody will be here. Okay.
Strack.
Here? Or aye? Little of both.
Mack. Reedman.
Aye.
Northern.
Aye. Motion carries. Do we have any public comments? I don't think we do. Board reports. I went to the Bandorama. Seems like months ago. No, it was just last week, I think. But it was a lot of fun. I think it's the 8th grade bands from Park and GMS. Yeah, but I mean I'm trying to get our schools. It was
Central High School.
well, I mean that's Central, but it had included
All the feeders.
yeah.
Yeah, so Lakeville, Billburn,
Yeah.
Woodland.
Yeah, it was so it's a huge group of students playing, but it was a lot of fun to watch. So it was they played some movie music and some other things, so it was fun. They did well. Anyone else? Slow week? Slow news week? Okay. Ellen?
So we're all anticipating the vote tomorrow on the property tax freeze. Hopefully the vote will be no, but thank you all for that have sent in your witness slips and sent messages to our legislators. Obviously it would have a very devastating effect on our district. Also, we survived Halloween in our district and didn't have any problems, so that's another good thing. And Matt, you want to talk about technology. So I'm going to let Matt come up and talk.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for giving me a few minutes to just put forward a request for a purchase of some technology over at Park Campus. One of the things that we are looking to do is a planned purchase that we're just looking to bump forward a little bit. One of our goals is to make sure that we have Chromebook carts in each of our academic wings, so one per grade level, 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way down. We're thinking eventually through 2nd grade, but currently we are sharing those Chromebook carts amongst multiple grade levels. We're experiencing some difficulty with some of our older devices, and we are hoping to push forward this purchase sooner rather than later and get more usage this school year out of the devices. So what we are looking for are 35 total Chromebooks at a purchase price just over $11,000.
Are the devices that are sort of not doing so well, are they the ones they originally purchased when we opened the school?
Yeah, there's two factors. One is, mostly it's the 10-plus-year-old devices that are no longer serviceable.
Is any of this grant money or anything like that, or?
This is building budget money that we had allocated at the beginning of the year, but we were hoping to just wait and make sure that everything else was okay as well.
Okay. I guess if we have consensus, then so go ahead and we can vote on it next time.
Great. Well, thank you for a few minutes.
Thank you. Next, we have our consent agenda. if I could have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, including the addendum to the personnel report? Or are there any questions? Okay.
Northern. Strack.
Aye.
Mack.
Aye.
Weedman.
Aye.
Motion carries. And we have only 2 action items this evening. First, if I could have a motion to approve board members attending the National School Board Association Conference in San Antonio on April 7th through 9th, 2018.
Tom and Stephen, Mac, and
Yeah.
David, and just to let you know that CEDAW is paying for half of David's.
And the total is,
Without the food, it's about,
yeah, without per diem, it's
about $1,600
Per person?
per person. If we get the flights right now, so I can make the flights however you want to do it.
Do you have any questions about it?
Mhm. Once I get all the done, then I'm just going to send him the bill.
I think we had a motion. Do you have a second? I'll second.
Okay. Weedman.
No.
Mack.
Aye.
Parkinson. Oh, I'm sorry. Northern.
Aye.
Strack.
Aye. Motion carries. And then, next, if I could have a motion to award the copier contract to Proven IT.
I'll second.
Chris, you just want to highlight the,
The vendors we looked at, Proven IT came in with the best proposal, both for 3-year and 5-year copiers. And I know the memo that I had written to you has the 5-year with the $10,000 per year savings. And the motion would be to approve a contract with Proven IT. They also had the 3-year contract as well. We're having them come in tomorrow morning, and we are considering a potential 3-year, which means that there wouldn't necessarily be any savings, which when COTG came in with the state bid, they were low by far and away, so we wouldn't have any increased expenses. And the only reason I'm considering potentially a 3-year would be because of the machines that Proven IT would be giving to the district, and those would be Toshiba's. Toshiba right now is having some troubles and thinking about filing for bankruptcy, and we need to find out a little bit more information from Proven IT as to if Toshiba were to go bankrupt, what does that do for parts and service and everything like that. So that's the conversation that we're going to have tomorrow with Proven IT.
so then, so there's a chance we may not go with that?
Well, we've considered 2 proposals from them because they also came through with the Canon 5-year proposal, which actually their lease price on the Canons for a 5-year was almost as good as everybody else's. The Canons are considered top of the line, so we'd have less service calls with the Canons. They don't necessarily have the features that the Toshibas do. The Canons will just be base machines that run just like our machines now, but obviously with less issues. Some of the newer machines, some of the newer features that are coming out on these machines would be something like the Follow Me, where you could actually print, and then you can go to whichever printer you'd like to go to and go ahead and put your card or punch in your number, and it would print from there instead of finding that maybe the machine that you went to print to initially was down. A little bit more time. They also have a feature where you could scan pages into Google Docs. Canon does not provide that. The Canon is just a machine that's going to work, and it's going to work well. So we've been kicking around those 2 machines, those 2 different ideas. But like I said, tomorrow we'll have some more information. I can shoot it out to the board as soon as possible. But I would imagine that Proven would be that's the company that right now has the best offer on the table.
So then, should we not?
I would still recommend going with Proven. Just the strategy that we're going to use might be a little bit different. Even if we went with the Toshibas, I'd consider doing a 3-year for the additional features. I don't think we would run into any problems over a 3-year period, and we'd certainly have some sort of guarantee by proven if something were to go wrong. I'd want that written in, and there were delays on parts, that there would be a solution that would be, what I'm shooting for is to get another machine that's not Toshiba as a replacement.
Does it hurt us at all if we wait 2 weeks and to approve this until you got everything straightened out?
In order to get machines into the buildings by winter break, we're at the point right now where we probably want to, within a week or so, have a contract with the company in paper so they can start putting things together.
Well, I mean, even with this, it's not approving the contract, it's just approving IT as the
Yeah, it's
vendor.
approving us to go ahead and sign a contract.
Right.
Proven. So if you were to actually approve this, it doesn't mean that we have to sign a contract with them. I can turn around and nix it, say, we're not doing it. You're just giving me the authority to do it should everything come out the way we'd like it to come out after we have this meeting tomorrow.
And if it doesn't come out, then what?
Well, then it looks like we're gonna have a very late December, very early January, maybe January 2nd install with machines. And it's one of those things you just don't want to wait too long. I'd rather not have to do an install with machines while the school is back in session. January is usually a heavy month for prints and clicks, so we'd want them in there by winter break. But I mean, worst comes to worst, what we could do if we have to nix this and we couldn't get the machines in, we could still go month to month with Xerox and maybe have an install over spring break. So that's still an option on the table.
I mean, is it worth, basically waiting on this and then having a special session next week after you've spoken to them, or approve it, or should we?
I mean, I think if you approve and give me the authority, like I said, I can turn around and just say we're not going to do it. And I can let the board know prior to. I can let you know exactly what happens at tomorrow's meeting, and if we don't feel comfortable, we don't feel comfortable, and we'll just set something up for the next board meeting.
Okay. Any other questions?
Weedman,
Aye.
Strack,
Aye.
Northern,
Aye.
Mack.
Aye.
Motion carries. Transportation study discussion.
So we're currently still in the process of gathering the data. We have determined finally the number of buses that we need, 63. That includes small buses, large buses. We have met with the company for the leasing. We've also, Chris and Keith have gone to other districts to look at how their setup is with the transportation. And talk to them about whether they are glad they run their own programs, what kinds of things that they run into when they started their own programs. And we are also still looking at potential locations to house the buses. So now we will be meeting Monday with somebody to talk about the walkie-talkies and that type of thing and Joe's got some ideas too. You know, we got to make sure we can still keep in communication with all the buses. So we're still not at a point yet where we can give you the numbers. We hope to have a recommendation to you by January 17th, one way or the other. And we've got, I think what we will probably give you is a couple of different options too. Not just, do the whole thing, do part of it, so that the board can make the best decision. And we also will, by then, we'll have Durham's recommendation for increase for next year as well. Right now, it's looking between 4.5% and 6%.
What did the other districts say as far as, what were their thoughts on running their own programs?
Some districts, like Woodland, for instance, said, we wish we weren't in this business. Don't go that direction. Big Hollow and Fremont both. Big Hollow is their second year for doing it. They're very happy that they did, and they are saving a significant amount of money. There's going to be problems with busing no matter where it is, whether it's with another company or whether it's your own. There's just things that happen that you've got to be careful of. I have talked to some teachers from Fremont who felt that the bus drivers became part of your district, they become part of your family rather than being external, and they found that if you, treat them in a positive way, you get better service. What other things did you learn when you were?
We were at Fremont today. There were a lot of ideas about how to house. They do their own maintenance, and they had ideas about maintenance, but we wouldn't even consider that right now because we don't have the facilities for that. But they do try to incorporate their bus drivers into the family that is the staff of Fremont. And they've been doing it for quite some time now. From what I've seen, they're pretty much the gold standard. Beautiful facility, and it's run very, very well. If you've been doing it for so long and you've gotten to know the drivers, and they've got a different compensation package that they use for them, they say it's fantastic.
Do they use the same company as it Woodland? Is it?
Woodland uses their own. They own their own.
Prior to when they switched, did they use the same?
I don't know.
Fremont has been doing their own busing. I think the gentleman said he had been there for about 40 years, so they've been doing it for a long time.
But everybody else around us has been using Midwest, which was what we talked about.
Is there
Yeah.
a company that used to be called National something or other? I think that's what they had spoken about.
Woodland owns all their?
Different ways to do it. Fremont purchases their big buses and keeps them for a period of 10 years, but they lease their little buses. We've discussed multiple options of, perhaps going in-house only with our special education and our small buses, and still going out to Durham with our big bus. I mean, we've kicked around.
That's why we're going to give you multiple options and look at the cost savings for each one of them. We do have some.
What do you do with maintenance?
If we
Service
lease it,
contract.
there's a service plan with it. So they'll come and
They
do
come
all
on
the oil
site.
change, everything. We don't have to do that.
Okay, you said 63 buses?
Mhm.
3 buses.
How many of those are spare?
There's 3 for the large and 3 for the small. The new ones, the new small ones have a feature that if you have a wheelchair need, you can put up all the little pieces that you need, but if you don't need it, you can put a seat, the seat comes back, and so you can still use it. So for like a small sports team, like basketball, you could use a smaller bus rather than the large one. So, the newer buses are much more user-friendly than just being just for one thing. That's one of the little things we would save quite a bit of money is our after-school activities. That's very costly.
And do the buses have, what the service contract, is it scheduled maintenance for all of them, or is it just we call them when we need?
No, they do scheduled
They do
maintenance.
maintenance, and they do everything A to Z.
Yep.
So it's pretty nice.
Our biggest challenge now, 2 challenges, is where we're going to park them, and number 2 is the gas. We're going to figure out where to go, so we're going to talk to the village. I think,
Get a contract with their,
yeah, we're going to try to see if we can do that. And actually, their gas pumps are right over by Frederick.
Oh,
I didn't know that until.
Oh, okay. Is it,
It's in the service yard.
Yeah. Whether they would, we've also talked to 127.
Milburn.
in Melbourne. So, I mean, we've got options for the special ed piece that we can share. We could share other districts. There's a lot of good, a lot of potential. We just got to see what the bottom line's going to be.
Obviously, it's a very, very large undertaking. It's one of those, if you
Yeah.
switch, you might not have the opportunity to switch back.
like ever?
You want to do this.
Well, at least for 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
The laws around that deal with unions make it very difficult for somebody to be in a union to actually take something that's in-house and say, we want to outsource, and lawsuits that the union members have won.
Isn't that how we got to the private busing in the first place, is we had it internally and it got challenged via law that we didn't go out for bid, basically? Isn't that how we got to this point, where we started having to pay outside vendors? Isn't that how that all came about?
That I couldn't tell you. I can tell you about 4 or 5 years ago, the lawsuit that I saw that happened where a district wanted to outsource, and they were stopped from outsourcing. So,
Yeah, I think that's how District 46 got out of the busing business to begin with, if I remember right. Maybe something to look up, but if I remember right, the reason why we stopped doing busing at
Lawsuit
District
in the opposite
46 was in a
direction.
lawsuit in the opposite direction, is that it wasn't being cost effective
Well, that's fine.
Right, yeah.
by having it internally, and these private businesses could do it cheaper, and they undercut them and out they went. So there's another aspect of that we need to look at too then. How many employees would it add?
well, besides the bus drivers, which we tier routes, so you're probably looking at least 30 drivers, including substitutes, and on-call.
Are bus drivers required to clean? If it's ours, do the bus drivers clean the buses?
Bus drivers would be cleaning up after, so, and the contract that you'd sign with them would be, what we've heard so far is you get paid for a minimum of 4 hours of work, and then anything on top of that, there's a schedule that would be used in order for time over 4 hours. You'd need a dispatcher, you need a head of transportation, and potentially another central office person. Otherwise, there's talk of making some of the bus drivers lead drivers. Those would be the ones responsible for making sure that everybody was there in the morning. If not, calling in the subs. And if we run out of subs,
Oh, Chris, Paul and I are gonna start driving.
we'll get our licenses and away we go.
You don't like this thing?
I want to wait to see the numbers. That's big for me because there's, what's that?
It sounds expensive.
It does, but the amount of money that we actually pay out is quite a bit as well.
Yeah, the contract we have now is,
So we would be bringing in a lot of liability. And we just actually learned today that about $1,000 per bus would be the additional cost, insurance-wise.
There's comp for all the employees. The liability of them being out there.
Yep.
Well, we're certainly hoping that there will be bus drivers that are currently,
Now, on, just being at the district day in and day out and receiving emails from people saying, where's my bus? The driver is doing X, Y, and Z, and like, there's been a lot of negative emails this year about buses coming late, people not knowing their routes. Those are all of the situations we would hopefully avoid if we went in-house.
well, and we've met with Durham, told them our concerns, and it continues.
It's actually interesting, at Fremont today, we were talking about what type of pay goes into it, and Fremont said that they were a little upset at the bus that's parked out on 120 with the offer that they had on there from Durham. Ooh, so prices are going up, definitely. It was only a few years back when it was, you're looking at $14 to $15 an hour, and now it's up over 19, I think.
So it's still a work in progress, and I can't tell you which way it's going to be, but
yeah, I've been just interested to see how the numbers
it's
work out as well.
been quite a project. I've learned more about buses than I ever expected to.
Appreciate the work, for sure.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll point us in a good direction anyway.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay. Point of sale systems.
So we've been looking at different vendors for point-of-sale systems for our lunch service. We've seen RevTrack, we've seen Infinite Campus, Mealtime was just in this past Monday. One of the things that they're generally saying is about time of implementation. They say, do not implement it at the beginning of the school year because it's too chaotic then. And they also say a January implementation is not the best either because it's just after a break. They think more of a February implementation or a March implementation, so people get experience using it during the year and then they can come back and it'll just be a short refresher. So time frame to, if we were to go this direction, would be probably February or March. We don't need to push it by any means. Sales are going nicely right now. most of the systems seem to have the same features, it just looks different. The reporting, they all have great reporting. It's one click, enter in the numbers. There's some internal controls with any type of cash that is handled and who counts and who gets to see the count, and then who actually approves what goes on before money is handed to somebody and goes to the bank, which is nice. Price-wise, Mealtime is still waiting to get us prices. Theirs is a web-based service. I think it's pretty much just going to come down to, I don't see any significant differences between each of the models that we've seen to say this one is demonstrably better than the other one. I mean, they all have slightly different features on them, but in the end, they all just take sales of lunches, and that's the primary focus, and that's the primary need. So once I get back all of the pricing, I will share that with the board, and we can figure out if this is the direction that we want to go, and if this is something that we would like to implement this year. The hopes of this is actually to increase more sales to cover the cost of the system.
My son eats it every day now.
You what?
My son eats it every day now.
That's good.
So now we can do 2 lunches,
One longer. Yeah.
breakfast and a lunch maybe?
He's eating it every day. I don't know.
The participation is up.
It's
generally.
way up.
Participation,
at least by one person.
breakfast was up 50% and
Yeah.
lunch
You
was
might be
up
going-
20%.
might be going
so.
through
20%. Huh?
As quickly as I'm getting the
Breakfast was
reading
up
of those,
50.
I might be
Wow.
going through 3 or 4 times.
50%. But it was really tiny before, so it's still small.
Oh, but that's.
but it's up.
Yeah, it's significant.
Future agenda items.
We've got the review of the adequacy dollars and the priorities, purchase for the tech for park.
Certified contracts,
Yes.
Yeah.
preliminary levy,
Potentially the SRP contract.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put both of them there.
yeah.
Oh, how about our non-union and
Right.
administrative?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a busy night.
It is. That's probably about it.
Is the 15th in Park?
No, it's here. Is that a good thing?
I can't go to Park on the 15th, I'll be on shift.
Okay. Well, the schedule for here, that's good.
All right, public comments? I don't believe so.
Not that there was anything wrong with Park.
Right. We do need to have at least a brief closed session, so if I could have a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to the sections of the Open Meetings Act listed in the agenda?
Mack,
Aye.
Strack,
Aye.
Weedman,
Aye.
Northern.
Aye.